Opendoor stock just closed Thursday's trade with one of the most astonishing single-day moves we've seen in years. Shares of Open finished the session at $10.52, up $4.66 on the day. That's a gain of nearly 80% in just one trading session. Let's pause on that number for a moment. Up 79.5%. That doesn't happen by accident. That doesn't happen to companies with no story. That happens when conviction meets catalysts, when leadership meets activism, and when a movement finally gets the validation it's been fighting for. And that's exactly what happened today. This is not just about a stock price doubling from its lows. This is about the validation of the Open Army thesis. The belief, held tightly by Eric Jackson, Anthony Pompliano, retail investors across the country, and yes, even comedians like Rob Schneider, that Opendoor is not just another risky iBuyer. It is a cult stock with the potential to transform real estate the way Amazon transformed retail. So let's break this down. Why did the stock surge nearly 80% in a single day? Why does this matter for the long-term story? And why does today's rally mean more than just a spike on the chart? We start with the catalyst. On Wednesday after the bell, Opendoor announced a massive leadership reshuffle. Kaz Nejatian, the chief operating officer of Shopify, was named the new CEO of Opendoor. Keith Rabois and Eric Wu, the co-founders of the company, are returning to the board, with Rabois taking on the role of chairman. And alongside that, Khosla Ventures and Wu himself are investing $40 million in PIPE financing to accelerate growth. That news alone was enough to light a fire under the stock in after-hours trading, where it closed at $8.35. But Thursday's regular session showed that this wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction from the overnight crowd. This was broad conviction pouring into the market. The result, a 7-9% surge, the biggest single-day gain in Opendoor's history. And here's the key, this wasn't about earnings, or immediate profitability, or even a product launch. This was about transformation. This was about governance. This was about putting founder DNA back at the heart of the company and aligning leadership with the vision that retail has been demanding all along. Remember what Eric Jackson said just last week in New York. He told anyone who would listen that if the company got its board picks right, if it restored credible leadership and brought back the founders, then this stock could easily be worth $50. 50. And at the time, with the stock trading in the mid-single digits, that may have sounded like wishful thinking. But fast forward just 1 week, and suddenly that doesn't sound so far-fetched. Because today's rally is proof that when you fix the leadership, the market responds. For the Open Army, this is vindication. For weeks, retail has been mocked, doubted, and dismissed as just another meme stock crowd. But what separates Opendoor from meme stocks is conviction. This isn't about chasing a ticker because it's trending on Reddit. This is about a community of investors who believe in the long-term mission, who have held through the volatility, who have added on dips, and who have demanded change. Today, that conviction was rewarded. Let's talk about why leadership matters so much. Kaz Nejatian is not just any CEO. He's an AI-native operator who spent the last 6 years at Shopify, scaling one of the world's most important commerce platforms. He has a track record of product innovation, operational discipline, and platform building. His first public statement as CEO wasn't about cost savings or headcount reductions. It was about the meaning of home ownership, about how owning a home strengthens families, builds communities, and stabilizes societies. About how Opendoor can become a generational company by using AI to make buying and selling homes simpler, faster, and more accessible. That kind of vision matters because it reframes Opendoor as not just a housing disruptor, but as a company with societal relevance. It turns the mission into something bigger than quarterly numbers. And for a cult stock like Opendoor, that's exactly the kind of story investors rally behind. Then there's Keith Rabois. For weeks, the chant of the Open Army has been "Bring Rabois back." And now he's not just back, he's chairman of the board. One of Silicon Valley's most respected investors, a co-founder of Opendoor, and someone with deep conviction in the company's mission. His return tells the market that the board is serious about restoring credibility, aligning governance with vision, and putting experienced leadership in charge of the next phase. And don't forget Eric Wu, the original CEO of Opendoor, a founder who knows the business inside and out, now back on the board and putting his own money behind the company. Alongside Khosla Ventures, Wu is investing $40 million in Opendoor equity. That's insider conviction. That's skin in the game. That's a bet on the future, not just words. When you put those pieces together, Kaz as CEO, Rabois as chairman, Wu back on the board, and $40 million in new investment. You have a company that looks completely different than it did just 1 week ago. That's why the stock doubled in 2 days. That's why conviction is surging. And that's why shorts are now under extreme pressure. Because let's not forget, as of last week, around 24% of the float was short. That's about 155 million shares betting against Opendoor. Those shorts were counting on weak leadership, poor governance, and continued uncertainty. Instead, they got the exact opposite. They got founder DNA restored, a credible AI-native CEO, and a wave of retail conviction. No wonder the stock exploded higher. But here's the bigger point. This isn't just about punishing shorts. This is about proving a thesis. Eric Jackson has said for weeks that Opendoor is a cult stock, not a meme stock. That it's a company in transition, not in decline. That it has the potential to be the Amazon of real estate. Today's rally is proof of that thesis. It's proof that when retail conviction meets real change, the market responds. Now, some will say, but what about profitability? What about earnings? And those are fair questions. But let's be clear, this is a transformation quarter. The previous board gave soft guidance at the last earnings call because they knew change was coming. This is not the quarter to obsess over margins or immediate profitability. This is the quarter to focus on leadership, vision, and strategy. Profitability will come in time, but right now, the focus is on transformation. And transformation is exactly what we got. So where do we go from here? Well, first, there's still more fuel in the tank. The Federal Reserve is widely expected to cut rates next week. That's a macro catalyst that could send interest rate-sensitive stocks like Opendoor even higher. Lower mortgage rates mean more affordability, more transactions, and more opportunities for Opendoor to execute its mission. Combine that with the momentum of today's rally, and we could easily see this stock push further into double digits and beyond. Second, the short squeeze dynamic is far from over. With nearly a quarter of the float short, today's surge puts enormous pressure on those positions. Every dollar higher increases the risk of forced covering. Every hour that retail holds the line makes it harder for shorts to wait it out. That kind of pressure can feed on itself, creating the kind of momentum that takes a stock from $10 to $20, or even higher. Third, the leadership team now has the credibility to start making moves. Kaz Nejatian will be laying out his vision in more detail. Rabois will be steering the board toward strategic alignment. Wu and Khosla Ventures have fresh capital to deploy. This isn't just a feel-good story, it's a platform for execution. For me personally, the takeaway is simple. Today's rally isn't just a chart event. It's a story event. It's proof that the open army thesis is real. It's proof that retail conviction can drive change. And it's proof that when leadership aligns with vision, the market rewards it. If you've been holding through the ups and downs, today is your validation. If you've been waiting on the sidelines, today is your signal. And if you've been short, well, today should make you very nervous. Opendoor is no longer just fighting for survival. It's fighting to transform real estate, to make homeownership easier, faster, and more accessible, and to redefine what's possible in one of the largest markets in the world. With Kaz at the helm, Rabois as chairman, Wu back on the board, and the open army rallying behind them, this is a company with momentum, conviction, and vision. So to wrap it all up, Thursday's 7 to 9% rally is not just about price. It's about validation. It's about the open army thesis coming true. And it's about the beginning of a new chapter for Opendoor. The transformation is here, the conviction is real, and the future is wide open.